Chica bit into the peppered meat. The taste hit sweet, then bitter and then cold, like the harmattan air entering his blood. He froze mid-chew because the spoon in his hand suddenly felt too heavy, as if it belonged to someone else. Across the counter, the fat, dark woman selling the food smiled without joy, and the ceiling bulb above her flickered 3 times like a warning. "Swallow," she whispered. "Nah, today you go chop belly full." Outside, it was busy. People were going about their business. Yet, inside the small restaurant, silence pressed down like wet cement. Chica tried to stand. His legs refused. Earlier that day, Chica had promised himself he would not eat from any roadside mama put again. He had said it with confidence while walking under the heat, holding his phone with only 7% battery and a belly that kept twisting like a rope. But promises are easy when you're comfortable. In Lagos, hunger is not a joke. Hunger is a stubborn person that follows you, insults you, and pushes you into corners. Chica was 26. Not lazy. Not foolish. Not a criminal. Just unlucky in the way the city likes to test decent people. He had graduated from Yaba College of Technology. He could design flyers, manage social media pages, and edit videos, but Lagos didn't reward skills quickly. Lagos rewarded connections. And Chica had none. 2 weeks earlier, the printing press where he worked had closed overnight. The owner disappeared with salaries unpaid. Chica's landlord started calling every morning like an alarm clock. That day, he left his one-room safe contained before sunrise with hope in his pocket and fear behind his ribs. He was going to a job interview at a Papa for a dispatch rider position. He didn't even have a bike, but the advert said training available. The man in charge looked at him once and asked one question. "Where's your guarantor?" Chica blinked. "Sir, I fit bring." "Next." Just like that. His transport fare went. His confidence went. His throat tightened with the kind of shame that makes a man avoid eye contact. By afternoon, the sun was hot enough. Chica walked with no plan, trying to think of who he could call for help without hearing pity in their voice. His phone died. His stomach began to bully him. He started seeing food everywhere: roasting corn, meat on sticks, akara, fried yam, and shawarma stands. Every smell looked like temptation. Then he saw a signboard that looked like it had survived a war. It was leaning against a wall, half buried in dust. The paint was old, and the letters were crooked. Madame Noyom Kitchen Quick Meal. No story. That line made him pause. The entrance was narrow. A short passage led inside like a throat leading into a stomach. Chica told himself, 1 plate. Just 1 plate. I'll pay and go. He entered. The place was small. Too small to be a restaurant, yet somehow arranged like it had been expecting him. 3 plastic chairs sat in a line. 1 ceiling fan hung but didn't spin. A glass display case held meat pies and buns that looked too perfect, like props. The smell was strong: pepper, onions, meat, something smoky underneath. Behind the counter stood Madame Noyom. She wore a wrapper the color of dried blood and a blouse that looked freshly ironed. Her skin was smooth in a strange way, as if it didn't belong to her age. Her eyes were calm, but too steady. She looked at Chica as if she recognized him. "You don't come," she said, like they had an appointment. Chica forced a polite laugh. "Good afternoon, ma." "Sit. Wetting you want?" "Rice. Any stew. Meat." She nodded once and turned to the pot behind her. She didn't ask if he wanted chicken or beef. She didn't ask portion size. She just served. When she dropped the plate in front of him, Chica almost flinched. The quantity was much. The meat was big. The stew was thick and shiny. He quickly searched the wall for a price list. "None." "Madam, how much?" he asked. She didn't answer. She just pushed a glass of water toward him. The water was cold. That alone was suspicious. Cold water in a place with no running fan, no visible fridge sound, no generator sound or even electricity. Chica hesitated, then drank a little. It tasted normal. So he ate. First spoon. The rice was soft in a careful way, like it had been cooked by someone who knew exactly how to make a hungry man relax. Second spoon. The stew carried fire but balanced fire. It wasn't the reckless pepper that hurts. It was the kind of pepper that makes your eyes water and still makes you reach for more. Then he tasted the meat. Something in him paused. The flavor was deep, like it had been marinated in secrets. It tasted familiar in a way he couldn't place, like a song from childhood you haven't heard in years, but you still know the chorus. Chica swallowed and suddenly felt a wave of emotion. Sadness, sharp and sudden. A memory pushed forward: his mother stirring soup in their village compound, the sound of mortar, the smell of wood smoke, his father humming after dinner. He blinked fast. Why would meat in Lagos pull that kind of memory? He ate again, slower now. Across the room, he noticed two other people. A skinny man sat near the corner, staring at his hands like he was counting invisible lines. A woman with a headscarf sat with her back straight, not eating anything, just holding a nylon bag tightly. They both looked tired. Not the tired of work. The tiredness of people who have carried something heavy for too long. Chica cleared his throat. Madam, those people, DM no day chop. Madam Nyom didn't turn. They don't chop, she replied calmly. Chica frowned. The skinny man suddenly lifted his head and looked at Chica with eyes that begged without speaking. Chica felt discomfort crawl up his neck. He pushed the plate a little away. Madam, how much be this food? Make I pay and go. She finally turned and smiled. Her smile didn't touch her eyes. You go pay, she said. But finish first. Chica's heart jumped. Why? Madam Nyom leaned forward slightly, lowering her voice like a woman sharing gist. Because the food must enter you well. If you no finish, you no fit understand wetting you buy. Chica forced a laugh that sounded fake even to him. Madam, na food I buy. Her eyes stayed on him. Now wetting you think. Chica tried to stand again. His body obeyed this time, but not fully. His knees shook as if they were tired of him. He took a step toward the door. The door looked closer than it should, yet his movement felt slow, like walking inside water. Madam Nyom's voice remained soft. Sit down. Chica stopped. Not because he wanted to. Because his chest tightened, and his hands became cold. He turned back, confused and angry. Madam, wetting be this? She walked out from behind the counter. Her movement was smooth and quiet, the kind that doesn't announce itself. She stood beside Chica's chair and looked at the unfinished plate. People they make mistake, she said. DM they think any place we sell food they sell blessing. Chica swallowed. Madam, I beg. She pointed at the stew. Some places they sell hunger cure. Some places they sell trouble. She lifted her finger and tapped Chica's forehead lightly. You no ask who cooked the food? You no ask where the meat comes from? You no ask why the price no day wall? You just follow your nose. Chica's throat tightened. I no get strength for plenty question. I was hungry. I know, she said. Hunger is one of the biggest keys. Hunger opens door where sense should lock. Chica's anger rose. So wetting you want? Madam Nyom smiled again, and for the first time, her teeth looked too white. You don't already pay small. Chica shook his head quickly. I never pay anything. She tilted her head. You pay with the first swallow. Chica's heart beat fast. What do you mean? He asked. Madam Nyom walked toward the corner and picked up a small bell. It was old, brass, and dull. She rang it once. The sound was not loud, but it did something to the air. The room felt deeper. The walls felt farther. The light from the ceiling bulb changed color slightly, like evening entering a room too early. The skinny man in the corner stood up sharply, almost like a puppet pulled by string. The woman with the headscarf also rose. Chica stepped back. Madam, I beg no try me. Madam Nyom spoke like a teacher. This is how it works. She pointed to the skinny man. He came here with speed. He was always moving, always chasing money. He ate here and paid with his legs. The skinny man lifted his trousers slightly, revealing ankles wrapped with black thread. His feet trembled like they wanted to run but couldn't. He can walk, Madam Nyom continued, but his progress no day reach anywhere. She pointed to the woman. She came here with joy. Small joy, but still joy. She paid with laughter. The woman opened her mouth and tried to speak. Nothing came out. She slapped her throat in panic. Madam Nyom's tone remained gentle, as if she was explaining a market rule. You see? Not everybody pays with money. Some pay with what makes them human. Chica's stomach dropped. What about me? He whispered. Madam Nyom looked at him for a long time. You, she said slowly, came with something precious. Chica swallowed hard. I no get anything. Madame Wyom stepped close. You came with a clean name. Chica blinked. Your name is Light, she said. You don't steal. You don't kill. You don't do fraud. You still sleep with small piece. Chica's breath shook. Madame Wyom smiled. And that kind thing tastes sweet. Chica's mind raced. He wanted to run, but he also wanted this to be a dream. Madam, he said with shaky bravery, na police I go call. Madame Wyom laughed quietly. Your phone no get battery, she replied. Chica's eyes widened. He hadn't said that. He glanced at the counter where his dead phone sat today. Madame Wyom tapped her fingers on the wooden surface. You know why anyhow restaurants day plenty? Chica didn't respond. Because people day rush, she continued. People day chase cheap things. People day ignore signs. She pointed toward the street outside. Outside there, plenty noise. But plenty of people are still lonely. DM go eat anywhere just to feel okay for an hour. Chica felt his hands sweat. Madame Wyom leaned down and spoke low. There are kitchens you should never enter. Not because the food is dirty, but because the food takes your destiny. Chica's voice came out thin. My destiny? Madame Wyom turned and looked at the pot, then looked back at him. Whatever you value, she said. Chica stared at the plate again. The rice looked normal. The stew looked normal. The meat looked normal. Yet his body felt wrong. His heartbeat felt like someone else was controlling it. He tried to force himself to vomit. Nothing came. Madame Wyom watched him without sympathy. You can't return it, she said. Not like that. Madame Wyom lifted 3 fingers. Now, listen carefully. There are 3 routes for you. Chica's throat dried. First, she said, you pay with time. Chica blinked. 10 years, she continued. 10 years vanish from your life like smoke. You will still live, still hustle, still smile. But your body will suddenly behave like a man who has seen too much. Your mates will move ahead. You will wonder why you feel older than your mirror. Chica shook his head. No. Second, she said, raising another finger, you pay with direction. Chica swallowed. Meaning? He asked. You will keep trying. You will apply. You will labor. But every road you take will bend back. Nothing will progress in your life. Chica's breath caught. No. Madame Wyom raised the 3rd finger slowly. Third, she said, you bring someone. Chica's blood ran cold. Bring someone, he repeated. Madame Wyom nodded like it was normal. A replacement, she said. Someone who will eat and pay. If you do that, you walk free. Chica felt like vomiting. I can't do that. Madame Wyom's eyes stayed calm. Then choose the first or second, she replied. Chica's mind screamed. This was evil. This was madness. But the 2 people in the room were real proof. He looked at them again. The woman with the headscarf had tears rolling, but no sound. The skinny man's eyes looked dead. Chica's legs trembled. Please, he whispered. Is there no other way? Madame Wyom sighed like someone tired of repeating herself. There is always another way, she said. But that one is expensive too. Chica grabbed the edge of the counter. Tell me. Madame Wyom stared at him. You can win it back, she said. If you beat the house rule. Chica's heart pounded. What rule? She smiled slowly. Prove you are not like the others, she replied. Prove you can refuse hunger. Madame Wyom lifted the plate and brought it closer to Chica again. Finish, she said. Chica's eyes widened. Finish what? The meal, she replied. If you can finish this plate without letting the food enter your heart, then you can leave without payment. Chica stared. How? Madame Wyom placed a small calabash beside the plate. Inside the calabash was a bitter liquid, dark brown, with tiny leaves floating. You drink this first, she said. It will help you. Chica looked at the calabash and felt suspicion. What is it? Madame Wyom replied softly. Antidote and truth mixed together. Chica didn't trust her. But he also didn't have options. His mind said, don't drink anything again. Yet his body felt trapped already. He lifted the calabash with shaking hands and sniffed it. It smelled like bitter leaf, ashes, and something sharp like raw gin. He took one sip. Instant bitterness hit his tongue like a slap. His eyes watered. His nose burned. Then, suddenly, his hearing changed. The outside noise returned louder, like someone had unmuted the world. He heard Danfo horn. He heard market shouting. He heard music from a nearby shop. But inside the restaurant, he heard something else too, a faint whisper under Madame Noyom's voice. Like another voice speaking through her. Chica's chest tightened. He looked at Madame Noyom, and for a split second, her face looked different, older, rougher, with shadows. Then it returned to normal. Madame Noyom pointed at the plate. "Now eat," she said. Chica's hands trembled. He took 1 spoon of rice and stew. The taste was still good, but now, behind the sweetness, he heard it. A sound. Not with his ears. Inside his head. A small cry. Chica froze. He dropped the spoon. Madame Noyom watched him carefully. "You hear him?" she said. Chica's mouth opened. The cry grew louder, like a child struggling to breathe underwater. Chica turned his head sharply. "What is that?" he asked in a broken voice. Madame Noyom's smile returned. "Now you understand," she said. Chica stood up abruptly, pushing the chair back. It scraped the floor with a harsh sound. He looked at the meat pieces on the plate. They were still meat. But now, he couldn't unhear the cry. He leaned closer to the plate, staring as if staring could reveal the truth. The meat glistened. Then, for a blink, the surface changed. Not fully, just enough. He saw something like skin texture. He jerked back. His stomach turned violently. "Madam," he shouted. "Wetting be this?" Madame Noyom's voice remained calm. "You people day like cheap meat," she said. "You don't ask questions. You just chew." Chica's whole body shook. "This is human," he whispered. Madame Noyom did not answer directly. Instead, she said, "Some people disappear in Lagos, and nobody asks questions. The city swallows people like biscuits." Chica felt panic overwhelm him. He turned toward the door again and forced his legs to move. This time, he managed 2 steps. His hand touched the door handle. It was cold. He tried to pull. The door did not open. It wasn't locked. It just didn't open, as if the door had decided he wasn't allowed. Chica slammed it. Nothing. He turned back, breathing hard, eyes wild. Madame Noyom stood there, watching, not moving. "You can't go yet," she said. "The food has called your name already." Chica's voice cracked. "I don't want this." Madame Noyom shrugged slightly. "Wanting is for small things," she replied. "This is bigger." The skinny man stepped forward slowly. Chica flinched. The man's voice came out dry. "Brother," he said, "don't fight it. If you fight, you'll lose fast." Chica stared at him. "Who are you?" The man swallowed, as if the simple act pained him. "My name is Kelvin," he replied. "I used to be a courier. I drive around Lagos like a mosquito. I never rest." He laughed weakly. "One day, hunger caught me. I enter here. I chop like lion." He lifted his hands. "Since that day, my hands they shake like generator we don't die." Chica's eyes widened. Kelvin continued. "Madam, collect my speed. I still day move, but every step is like stone. I used to be sharp. Now my head is heavy." Chica turned to the silent woman with the headscarf. "What about you?" he asked. She opened her mouth and tried again. No voice. She tapped her chest and pointed to herself, then shook her head and made a zip sign across her lips, tears falling. Kelvin translated quietly. She was a singer. Church choir. Wedding events. She came to eat here one evening. "Madam, collect her voice." Chica's heart sank. Madame Noyom raised her chin proudly, like a craftswoman showing her work. "Everybody comes with a gift," she said. "If you eat carelessly, you donate it." Chica felt anger explode. "This is wickedness." Madame Noyom's eyes narrowed slightly. "This is business," she replied. "You want cheap? You get cheap. But cheap always has hidden bill." Chica's breathing became uneven. He looked around for anything, a knife, bottle, or chair to defend himself. But something told him fighting her physically would be like punching smoke. He needed a different strategy. Chica took another sip of the bitter calabash drink. The bitterness grounded him. Then he looked at Madame Noyom and spoke with as steady voice as he could manage. "You said if I finish without letting it enter my heart, I can go." Madame Noyom smiled. "Yes." Chica nodded slowly. "Then I want to do it," he said. Kelvin's eyes widened. The silent woman shook her head violently, warning him. Madame Wyom's smile deepened. Good, she said. Most people beg. Few people challenge. Chica sat down. His hands trembled. But his mind tried to lock in. He thought of his mother. He thought of the hardship. He thought, if I leave here alive, I must never be foolish again. He picked up the spoon. Then he did something unexpected. He stopped. He closed his eyes. And he began to pray quietly, a simple prayer, not big grammar. God, if you dare, help me. If I'm going to die, make me die with sense. Madame Wyom watched with mild amusement. Prayer, she said softly. Interesting. Chica opened his eyes. He looked at the plate. Then he spoke again, firmly. Before I eat, answer one question. Madame Wyom tilted her head. Chica pointed to the sign outside. Your board said no story, he said. But this is a full story. Why did you write that? Madame Wyom paused. For the first time, her calm face shifted. Just slightly. Kelvin's eyes widened again. The silent woman clutched her bag. Chica felt that he had touched something. Madame Wyom's smile returned, but now it looked forced. Eat, she said. No question. Chica held his ground. No, he replied. Answer me. The air changed. The ceiling bulb flickered again. Madame Wyom took one step closer. Her voice lowered. You want a story? She asked. You sure? Chica nodded. Madame Wyom stared at him, then sighed. Okay, she said. Since you ask. She tapped the counter. You see this place? This place no starters restaurant. Chica's skin crawled. What was it? Madame Wyom's eyes became distant. It was a shrine, she said. Kelvin inhaled sharply. Madame Wyom continued. A long time ago, before these buildings, before these roads, this spot was bush. People came here with sacrifice. People came here with fear. Chica swallowed. And you? Madame Wyom's lips curled. I was not the first, she said. I was once like you. Chica froze. Madame Wyom leaned forward and spoke the sentence that split Chica's brain in half. I ate here too. Chica stared. Madame Wyom's voice slowed, controlled. I was a girl from Aqua Ibom, she said. I came to Lagos to hustle. I slept in a salon. I washed plates. I carried water. I was hungry every day. Her eyes hardened. One night, rain fell. I had no money. I followed the smell and entered this same place. Chica's mouth was dry. I ate, she continued. And when it was time to pay, I cried. I begged. I promised I would pay later. Her laugh was small and bitter. The owner then was not a woman. It was an old man. His eyes were like charcoal. Chica listened, shaking. He told me the same three options, she said. Time. Direction. Replacement. Chica's stomach dropped. What did you choose? He whispered. Madame Wyom's eyes locked on Chica. I chose replacement, she replied. Kelvin made a sound like pain. Chica felt cold. You brought someone? Madame Wyom nodded once. I tricked my younger cousin, she said. I told her there was work. She followed me. She ate. Chica's heart hammered. What happened to her? Madame Wyom's smile vanished. She became what you see, she replied, gesturing around. She became part of the place. Chica's chest tightened. And you became this? Madame Wyom's voice became quiet. The old man freed me, she said. But he told me, the debt doesn't vanish. It transfers. One day, I will come back to replace him. Chica's eyes widened. So you replaced him? Yes, Madame Wyom replied. Chica's mind raced. So the only way to escape is to ruin another person. Madame Wyom tilted her head. That's what most people do, she said. Because fear makes people selfish. Chica swallowed, trying to steady himself. But you said I could finish and go, he said. That's the test. Madame Wyom nodded slowly. Yes, she said. Because I want to see something. Chica frowned. See what? Madame Wyom's eyes grew sharp. I want to see if somebody can break what I couldn't break, she replied. Chica's brain spun. He felt like he was standing on a bridge that could collapse at any time. He stared at the plate again. The cries in his head softened when he focused on Madame Noyom's story. He took another sip of the bitter drink. Then, slowly, he asked, "If someone passes your test, what happens to you?" Madame Noyom smiled faintly. "If you pass," she said, "you walk free, and this place chooses another." Chika narrowed his eyes. "Chooses another how?" Madame Noyom's smile widened. "It can choose a person outside," she said. "Or it can choose someone already inside." Chika's stomach clenched. He glanced at Dare and the silent woman. Then he looked at Madame Noyom again. "And if I fail?" he asked. Madame Noyom's voice became calm again. "Then you join the system," she replied. "You will still breathe. You will still exist. But you will belong here." Chika swallowed. He realized something terrifying. Madame Noyom wasn't only threatening him. She was also desperate. Her story sounded like a confession, not just intimidation. Chika leaned closer. "Madam," he said quietly, "are you trying to escape?" Madame Noyom did not answer immediately. Her eyes flickered. Just for a moment, sadness appeared. Then she hardened again. "Eat," she said. Chika stared at her. He understood. The restaurant didn't just trap customers. It trapped the manager, too. If that was true, then the plot was bigger. He needed to think fast. Chika picked up the spoon again. He took one spoon of rice and stew. The cries returned in his head. He flinched. He took another spoon. The cries grew louder. He clenched his jaw. Then he did something bold. He pushed the plate toward Madame Noyom. "Eat with me," he said. Kelvin's eyes widened like someone who had seen a ghost. The silent woman shook her head violently. Madame Noyom stared. "What?" she asked. "If this is a test," Chika said, "then eat with me. Prove you're not just collecting. Prove you can still taste what you sell." Madame Noyom's lips tightened. "I don't eat," she said. Chika leaned forward. "Why?" he asked. Madame Noyom's eyes sharpened. "Because I don't need to," she replied. Chika kept pressing. "No," he said. "That's not true. You don't eat because you're scared." Silence fell heavily. Madame Noyom's face changed. For a second, her eyes looked like a trapped animal. "How dare you?" she whispered. Chika's voice shook, but he continued. "You said you ate here once," he said. "And you chose replacement. You've been doing it ever since. But you still look like someone who hasn't slept properly in years." He swallowed hard. "You're not free," he added. Madame Noyom's hand moved slightly, as if she wanted to slap him. Instead, she smiled slowly. "You want to die fast," she said. Chika shook his head. "I want to live," he replied. "And I want to see if there's another way." Madame Noyom's voice turned low. "There is another way," she said. "But it breaks somebody." Chika nodded. "So you're already broken," he replied. Kelvin whispered, "Guy, stop." Madame Noyom's eyes locked on Chika's face. Then she did something Chika did not expect. She laughed, real short laughter. "You're stubborn," she said. Chika didn't respond. Madame Noyom stared at the plate for a long time. Then, slowly, she sat down. Madame Noyom put her hand near the spoon, not touching it. "Listen," she said quietly. "This place is not only run by me," she continued. "An agreement runs it." Chika leaned in. "What agreement?" he asked. Madame Noyom's eyes went distant. "People think it's witchcraft," she said. "But it is older than that. It is a covenant that feeds on carelessness." Chika's stomach tightened. "How?" he asked. Madame Noyom pointed at the plate. "That food is not ordinary," she said. "It is bait. It is designed to pull the part of you that you ignore." Chika frowned. "I don't understand." Madame Noyom spoke softly. "You were not just hungry for rice. You were hungry for relief. Hungry for hope. Hungry for one small moment of comfort." Chika's throat tightened. Madame Noyom continued. "When you ate, you opened your guard. When you opened your guard, the place touched your spirit." Chika swallowed. "So how do I close it?" he asked. Madame Noyom stared at him. "You must reject the comfort," she said. "Not by vomiting. By refusing the lie behind it." Chika's heart pounded. "What lie?" Madame Wyom's voice became sharp. The lie that you must do anything to survive. Chica froze. That sentence hit him like a slap because it was true. He had been thinking, anything, anywhere, any food. Now he understood. The restaurant was a mirror showing what hunger makes people do. Madame Wyom leaned close. If you can prove you will not sacrifice another person to save yourself, she whispered, then the place loses grip on you. Chica's eyes widened. Kelvin gasped softly. The silent woman trembled. Chica stared at Madame Wyom. So I can leave, without choosing replacement, he asked. Madame Wyom nodded slowly. Yes, she said. But you must do it correctly. Chica swallowed. How? Madame Wyom pointed to the door. Open that door, she said, and invite somebody to eat. Chica's blood ran cold. Kelvin whispered, no. Madame Wyom raised her hand. Not to trap them, she said quickly. To save them. Chica frowned, confused. Madame Wyom continued. You must warn them. You must expose me. You must destroy my business. Chica's mouth opened. You want me to spoil you? He asked. Madame Wyom's eyes glistened with something like tears. Yes, she whispered. Because I don't have courage to do it myself. Chica stared. This was the twist. The villain was also a prisoner. He stood slowly. His legs still shook, but now he felt purpose. He reached for the door again. This time, the handle warmed under his palm. The door opened. The street noise rushed in like a flood. A young man stood outside, holding his belly, eyes scanning for food. He looked like a typical Lagos hustler, with faded jeans and a small bag on his shoulder. His face showed hunger without shame. He saw Chica and smiled. Oga, abig this place they sell? He asked. Chica's heart hammered. He remembered Madame Wyom's words, invite somebody to eat. But not to trap them. To save them. Chica stepped aside and let the man enter. Kelvin's eyes widened in fear. The silent woman began to shake, as if she knew what could happen next. Madame Wyom stood still behind the counter, watching like she was waiting for judgment. The young man walked in and inhaled the smell. Ah, this smells like a good stew, he said, smiling. Auntie, abig give me one plate. Make it plenty. Chica raised his hand. Bro, Chica said quickly, before you buy, hear me. The young man frowned. Wetting? Chica swallowed. This place is not normal, he said. If you eat carelessly, you might lose something you can't regain. The young man laughed. Oga, hunger no day fear juju, he replied. Chica's heart dropped. This was the exact mindset that traps people. Chica stepped closer. I'm serious, he said. Ask the people here. He pointed to Kelvin. Kelvin opened his mouth, then closed it. His eyes were tired. The young man glanced at Kelvin and shrugged. Maybe not drug, he said. People they always do anyhow. Chica's frustration rose. He looked at Madame Wyom. She watched calmly, expression unreadable. Chica realized, warning alone might not work. He needed proof. He remembered the bitter drink. He turned to the young man. If you drink this, Chica said, pointing to the calabash, you will hear what I'm hearing. The young man hesitated. Wetting be that? He asked. Truth, Chica replied. The young man laughed again. Oga, please I don't have time for drama. Chica's voice hardened. Then you will pay, he said. The young man paused. Pay what? Chica stared into his eyes and spoke plainly. You might pay with your future. The young man's smile faded a bit. Madame Wyom's fingers tapped the counter. Attention filled the room. The young man finally said, okay. If na joke, I go laugh. Give me a small sip. Chica handed him the calabash. The young man drank. His face twisted. Chai. This drink bitter die, he shouted. Then he froze. His eyes widened. He turned slowly toward the plate of food on the counter. He leaned closer like someone hearing a call. His mouth opened. Who they cry? He whispered. Chica's chest tightened. The young man looked at Chica with panic now. Guy, who they cry? He repeated. Chica nodded slowly. Now you know, he said. The young man stumbled backward. I know they chop again, he said quickly. I they go. He ran to the door. It opened easily. He escaped. Kelvin exhaled like he had been holding his breath for years. The silent woman collapsed into a chair, shaking. Chica turned to Madame Noyom. "I did it," he said. Madame Noyom stared at him. Then, slowly, she began to tremble. The room shook. Not like an earthquake. Like anger. The ceiling bulb burst with a sharp pop. Darkness fell. But Chica could still see. Not with light. With something else, like his eyes had adjusted to the hidden world. The walls began to sweat. Black liquid seeped from cracks. The smell changed from stew to something stale and metallic. Madame Noyom grabbed the edge of the counter as if something was pulling her backward. Her face twisted. She screamed for the first time. Not a normal scream. A scream like someone tearing away from chains. Chica stepped forward. "Madam," he shouted. Kelvin backed away, shaking his head. Kelvin whispered, "This place no go allow anybody break free." Madame Noyom's eyes rolled back slightly. She fought to speak. "Finish it," she gasped. Chica's heart pounded. "How?" Madame Noyom forced the words out. "Expose the pot." Chica turned toward the pot behind her. He rushed to it, ignoring the fear. He lifted the lid. The smell hit him like poison. Inside was stew. But beneath the stew, shapes. Not just bones. Things tied together. Hair. Rings. ID cards sealed in nylon. Small items like keychains. Evidence of lives. Chica's stomach turned. He looked around. He saw a small bottle of kerosene near the wall. A stove. A matchbox. His hands shook. He understood. Burn it. Destroy the kitchen. Destroy the agreement. He grabbed the kerosene and poured it on the pot, the counter, the floor. Kelvin shouted, "Guy, you mad?" Chica didn't answer. He struck the match. The flame flared. The fire caught fast, hungry like the thing it was fighting. Madame Noyom screamed again, not in pain, more like relief mixed with terror. The walls shook violently. A sound rose in the air like many voices arguing at once. Chica backed away, pulling Kelvin and the silent woman toward the door. The door resisted for a second. Then it opened. They rushed outside. Fire in Lagos attracts people faster than food. Within minutes, neighbors gathered. Some shouted, "Water! Water!" Some recorded with phones. Some prayed loudly. Chica stood panting, sweat and smoke on his face, eyes wide. A woman asked him, "Who burned the shop?" Chica's voice shook. "This place is not normal," he said. "This place they collect people." People laughed at first. Then they saw Madame Noyom. She walked out slowly from the smoke. Her wrapper was burning at the edge, but she didn't seem to feel it. Her face looked older now. Wrinkled. Real. She raised her hands and shouted, "Make Una no enter that place again." The crowd went silent. Someone yelled, "Now which kind talk be that?" Madame Noyom's voice cracked like a tired drum. "I don't spoil plenty life," she shouted. "Because hunger spoil me first." The crowd murmured. Some backed away. Some shouted Jesus. Some said, "Na mad woman." Then the building made a sound like a deep growl. The roof caved in. Flames swallowed the inside completely. And from inside the burning place, people heard it. A long, final wail. Like something dying that wasn't supposed to exist. Immediately, Chica stopped the bike and asked the bike man to take him home. He slept all through that day like someone who survived World War II. The next morning, Chica sat in silence for a long time on his bed. Then he stood up, went outside, and walked to the roadside. He found a small canteen run by an old woman who looked ordinary, wrinkled, noisy, always scolding customers and laughing loudly. Chica asked her gently, "Mama, who taught you to cook?" The old woman laughed. "My mama. Why you asked?" Chica nodded. He paid for food. But he didn't rush. He watched her serve. He watched her hands. He watched her face. He listened to her voice. Then he said a small prayer, quietly, and ate. Nothing whispered in his head. No cold aftertaste. No hidden cry. Just normal food. Chica breathed out slowly. He learned something that day, something many people ignore. Not every cheap thing is a blessing. Not every fast meal is harmless. And not every kitchen is human. In the old days, elders warned children. If your spirit never agrees, your mouth must refuse. Because some places don't sell rice. They sell consequences. And the bill can follow you for years. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to my channel for more beautiful stories.